All right, hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to the February 27th full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. Can you all hear me? All right. My name is Jessica Elliott and I'm the vice chair of CB11. Why is there an echo? Can we? Is your sound on? Okay, can you hear me without an echo? Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the February meeting, full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Jessica Elliott, and I'm the vice chair of CB11. This meeting is called to order at 6:42 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Angel Muscane, Assistant District Manager Khalid Nixon, and Community Associate Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. Registration for the public session will close at 7:15. We will now take attendance.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Rosa Diaz, your secretary. Please listen for your name. I will call you twice. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Mark Bogurski. Love the last name. Adem Brija.
Present.
Thank you, Adem. Kareem Kauser. Devon Cronshaw. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Thank you. Carlos Diaz. Thank you. Rosa Diaz, myself. Angela Donadell. Oh, it's excused, sorry. Jessica Elliott.
Present.
Judith Febraro. Brandon.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you, Judith. Brandon Gillespie. Thank you. David Giordano. John Green. John Green. Okay. Annie Hansen. Wanda Hopkins. Yes, excuse, sorry. Christina Johnson is excused. Oh, it's an excuse here. Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Beverly McFarlane. Okay. Giselle Malave. Thank you. Sage Mason. Malik McCullough. Okay. Jennifer Mayer. Thank you. Alicia Miranda. Alicia Miranda. Okay. Jessica Morris. I believe she's sick. Yes. Nilsa Orama.
Present.
Yes, thank you. Beverly Pavon. Pavon. Thank you. Claudia Perez. Claudia Perez. Nicolas Reyes. Nicolas Reyes. Okay. Asher Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Thank you. Don Sanders. Don Sanders. Okay. Xavier Santiago. Yes, thank you. Isaac Scott. Thank you. Russell Schuller. Thank you. Loretta So. Vincent Torres. Thank you. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Anne-Marie, okay. Jason Villanueva. Candy Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilshire Clement. Thank you. Jason Wu. Thank you. Okay.
Do you have quorum?
Yes,
Great.
yes, we do.
All right. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on our website's meetings calendar. If there's no objection, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. You must sign up to give testimony, provide your name and affiliation. Will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Should address your testimony to the board, not the public. Should speak clearly and into the microphone. Should be prepared to respond to board members' questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Has anyone signed up to speak in the public session?
The first online registrant is Madeline Lugo.
Madeline Lugo. Please unmute yourself. Madeline Lugo. All right, we'll move on to our next registered speaker.
The second registered speaker is Janice Zayas from Aspen's Horizon.
Janice Zayas. Great. Would you like to? Yeah, you can. Not this one. Okay. He's going to bring a microphone.
He has a timer running.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Zayas, and I have been in East Harlem for my entire life. I won't share my age. I am currently a Board of Ed vendor. I do mindfulness meditation and yoga. My goal for this community is to heal. And there's so much going on. I'll be honest, I don't know much about politics. I know Stephanie, I know Rosa, I know some of you by sight. But my goal for being here today is basically spring is coming, life is changing, our streets are going to be very different, full, impacted by everything that's going on. So my goal is to connect with other community members, small businesses, partnerships, and collaborate my services with them to do yoga. I'm currently have a yoga studio with Gigi and Pop on 104. Every Sunday at 10 a.m. we do mindfulness meditation. It's a very different kind of yoga. I believe in healing the body from mind, spirit, soul. Just moving is not enough. Just thinking is not enough. Just feeling is not enough. So combining it all together, working with our community members, especially those that are dealing with the bigger issues, supporting them and getting a moment to reset and pause. Doing this line of work, as I've done in the past few years, community work is a lot. And the truth is, we need to reset. If we do not reset, we get desensitized. And it becomes about us and our egos and our pride and what we want and what we think, when the reality is that none of us are going to get this done alone. It's going to take a village. I'm old enough to know that it takes a village to fix a problem. But in order for that village to work, we have to listen to each other. So my goal is just to present myself outside of all the other work that I've done in this community in the past and just focus on the healing, the listening, and the being, as opposed to the doing. There's a lot of people doing stuff. So again, my name is Janice Zayas. I am from East Harlem. I am currently living in NYCHA. I've raised 3 amazing young men in this community. It can happen. We can all figure this out together. And so I'm here for all those programs that don't know me. I will be leaving my information with Rosa, and I am of service to anyone that is open to having this work within your business, your schools, your families. Come by Sunday, Gigi and Pop, 104th and First Avenue. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Yeah, thank you so much. Yep, just go ahead.
What are the age groups that you service? So I service from 3 and up. I do prenatal yoga, I do trauma-based yoga, I do class and push-in yoga, mindful meditation. My yoga is different. It's not just having yoga to get down talking. So it's an hour and a half of affirmations, meditation, movement, manifestation, journaling, and community emotions, right? So I'll start a class off with, does anyone want to do an intention? And the intention can be from someone that's 3 years old, right? We separate the children from the adults. And we have chair yoga. So there's a variety of classes, there's a variety of events that are coming up. We're planning a big one for spring, and it's going to be open to everyone. So I like to service all ages. Whatever works for you, we'll find a way to make it work. If I don't have it, I'll find someone that has it and we'll bring it in.
How many people can you have at one time per session?
So
How
how
many sessions do you have in a day?
So right now, we're just starting off with one, as usual in topics, we can use to fill up. So I'm saying it comfortably so that we are aware of space and all the other things that are happening around 20 to 25. But in the summer, when it's warmer, I'll be doing some classes out of the park. I'll be doing some classes out of some schoolyards. I have pieces in the garden in Harlem. So it's going to be all over East Harlem as well as some of Central Harlem. The goal is to heal. So if I can get there and if there's something specific you need and I have enough time to create it, and if I don't have it created with some of my other partners, we can provide you the service.
So if someone wanted to acquire your services for a group of, say, seniors, could you do that? And how much would you charge? What are your,
Yeah, that's, yeah, I have a website and I'll share all the information, we can definitely sit down and do that, but I just did a big one downtown recently, so yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions, but we are planning our third annual Earth Day conference, and yoga sounds like a great idea on the Museum of the City of New York's front patio. So, yeah, be in touch. Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Jose Rodriguez. Please step forward.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and I am the owner of 116 Flowers. It's a family-owned business that's probably been serving the community for over 30 years. Today, I am here to express my opposition to the festival that is scheduled to be held on May 12, 2024 in East Harlem on 116th Street between 2nd and 3rd Ave. Local businesses in the community, including mine, strongly oppose this festival due to the significant impact it has on our operations when the street is closed for the event. The fact that this festival takes place on Mother's Day weekend impacts our business. Mother's Day is the most important holiday for me. It helps me sustain my business during the slow times that follow. After this holiday, business doesn't pick up until the end of October. So Mother's Day weekend plays a crucial role on the survival and progress as local businesses. I urge the community board to reconsider this festival and its timing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Mark.
You have the same objection as a different weekend on Mother's Day? I thought it was Florida, so I know what Mother's Day is.
Well, all the festivals play an impact on my business and other businesses, but specifically this one, it's the biggest holiday for our industry. So it definitely, we have the summertime coming, which is the slowest season, and Mother's Day plays a major role in sustaining us.
So if it was later, you would be less objection.
Yes.
You have less objections to
Yes.
this, or fewer objections.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sage.
Is this what we're voting on later? The Amara Family Day Health Care Festival?
Yes.
Is there anybody from the sponsoring organization that is going to speak?
Yeah, we'll get into that in the licenses and permits section of our business session. Michelle?
I was wondering where the festival is. Are you and your flower store? Is your flower store on the corner? Or is there a way that there could be an access as well as have, like, there the street sector a little bit away from your store, or you're still directly in the middle?
Unfortunately, I'm right in the middle, and I not only have people from the community, but I also have people from that come with vehicles and other means of transportation. So sometimes if they see that the street is closed, it's already hard enough to find parking. They're gonna see the street closed, they're not gonna want to go shopping. And you can't double park your cars just to go shopping. You're gonna get a ticket. It's gonna cost more to double park than to actually go buy something.
Okay, thank you, Michelle, for your question. Thank you for your statement. Our final public speaker is Kevin Powell. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Powell. I'm a community organizer for Harlem Trader Zone. I worked for the organization for over 17 years. Now I'm a community organizer. We are located on 2037 Adam Clayton Powell. At that particular site, we are there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We do scanning, copying. We do benefit support services. We do not currently, but we will have computer classes that is been in demand, especially with the elderly community. Community advisory boards, of course, which all of us do. And that's it for that. We are doing tax preparation from the 29th to the 15th. We have 3 locations that we do it from, which is Community Pride is 2037 Adam Clayton Powell Salem Community Center, which is 211 West 129th Street, and the Jeffrey Canada Community Center, which is 35 East 125th Street. At Salem Community Pride, which is 211 West 129th Street, we have a couple of classes going on from Community Impact. It's a GED class, and we also have an ESL class. And I have a flyer there in the front. You can scan to go in, to register, excuse me. Also, we have cafe prep and hospitality. And yes, I'll move on. Sorry, a little nervous. We also have the baby college. The baby college is for new and expecting parents from ages children 0 to 3. They get a $100 gift certificate after the completion of the course. Basically, they get brunch. It's family trips, raffles, and gifts. It's a year-round event. We do cycles, 5 cycles per year. It's usually on Saturdays from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also, we have a Harlem Gems pre-K program. Children born in 2020 enrolled by applying online can scan the QR code, which I have here. It's an 11-month program with curriculum centered around reading, math, and social emotional learning. Staff and students ratio supports individual and small group instructions. Last, we have 2 different programs. We have a free karate classes at the Jeffrey Canada Community Center, which is located at 35 East 125th Street. It goes on Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 to 7:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 9 to 11 a.m. And last, we have our free salsa classes, which is also at the Jeffrey Community Center, Monday through Thursday, 7 and 9 p.m. At the Jeffrey Canada Center. And that's it if anybody has any questions. I also have a number if you want to contact me. My number is 347-413-4892. That's it. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes.
What was the name of the first thing that you mentioned?
Where we're located is Community Pride. Community Pride. Oh, sorry. And that's located at 2037 Adam Clayton Powell.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Thank you very much. We will now move along, and I want to thank everyone for your patience and my late arrival. We will now move along to our local elected officials report. We ask that elected officials, like our publicly registered speakers, observe the 3-minute rule, 2 minutes to present, 1 minute for questions. Please make sure you complete the registration form, and if you wish to give a report, a link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. We ask that any event service literature be sent to our office so that we may post and or share it as appropriate. Again, please keep your report to 3 minutes and be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Our first elected official is Sophie Sokor from Senator Serrano's office. Sophie?
Hey everyone, great to be here. Sophie from Senator Serrano's office. We've been having a really busy session in Albany. We actually passed a bill this morning, Bill S724, which prohibits the lease of state forests, wildlife management areas, and other unique areas for the purpose of gas production. We also recently joined forces with Assemblyman O'Donnell. On February 13th, we had an Arts Day to address the significant impact of the arts and to emphasize the crucial need for funding in the state of New York for the arts. We had a bunch of panelists come from all parts of New York State to testify on these panels. Arts as an economic engine and regional impacts, diversity and cultural tourism, and arts in education and continued development. The event was live streamed on Zoom and Facebook, and you could go on YouTube to watch that if you would like. We also were happy to have the Cardinal Hayes football team come up to Albany. They are the first inner city school to ever win the New York State Catholic High School Championship right here in the South Bronx. So we were really excited about that. And we gave them a joint resolution alongside Assemblywoman Amanda Septimo and the governor. We also had caucus weekend recently where we hosted a Right to Counsel workshop with the Right to Counsel Coalition and tenant leaders from CASA. A couple other things we have going on. We had a rally to support the New York Heat Act. And we will be having 2 constituent hours this month in East Harlem in March. The first will be on March 15th at Corsi Older Adult Center and the other on March 25th at Franklin Plaza. Basically, those offsite constituent hours is our team comes out to different parts of the district. And if you're having any sort of constituent issues, housing, any sort of issue that you're having, they come to areas closer to you and you can talk to our staff about that and we can open a case for you. As always, our office is available to assist with any other issues or questions. And you can reach out to us at 212-828-5829 or email us at serrano@nysenate.gov. Thank you so much.
Any questions? Okay. Seeing none, thank you very much for being with us. Next, we have Maggie McDermott from Deputy Speaker Ayala's office. Maggie.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm here to represent Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. We have a lot going on, so I'm going to cut right to the chase. I wanted to speak to you about newly assigned appointments in regard to the legislative session, which means that council members are assigned new roles and committee appointments. Deputy Speaker Ayala will continue to serve as the chair of the General Welfare Committee and will also serve key roles on the Finance, Public Safety, Criminal Justice, Oversight and Investigations, Standards and Ethics, and Rules, Privileges, and Elections Committees. Deputy Speaker Ayala's policy portfolio will be broad and diverse as always, and she works on creating solutions to complex problems that District 8 members face. I want to speak to you about several events that Deputy Speaker Ayala is hosting. We have the Fair Fairs NYC, which is a half-price Metro card. Along with HRA, Deputy Speaker Ayala is hosting this event on Friday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at her East Harlem District office located at 105 East 116th Street. We need you to please call 212-828-9800 to RSVP with Paula. RSVPs are a must for this particular event because you will have a one-on-one appointment with a member of the Fair Fairs team. Okay, so if you have questions, if anyone here has questions in regard to an existing HRA case, they should feel free to call HRA at 718-557-1399. Deputy Speaker Ayala is also hosting free tax preparation sessions. These, of course, are one-on-one sessions. They are taking place in collaboration with Robin Hood, the NYC Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and Urban Upbound. They are coming on site every Friday until April 12th, 2024, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. at our East Harlem District office. That does not require an appointment. Individuals can just walk in with their tax documents and have a one-on-one session with the tax specialist. Also, everyone here is invited to join Deputy Speaker Ayala along with Uptown Grand Central and the NYC EDC at their Black History celebration. Happy Black History Month, everybody. On Sunday, March 3rd at 3:30 p.m., a jazz, gospel, and blues concert featuring Antoinette Montague, Bobby Sanabria, and other performers at Harlem's oldest house of worship, the Elmendorf Reformed Church, which is located at 171 East 121st Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenues. That concert is taking place, like I said, this Sunday, March 3rd, and that will
Great.
start at
Thank you.
3:30. Yes,
That's a free concert, correct, Maggie?
absolutely. Yes, everything I
Great,
am mentioning
great.
to you absolutely
Thank
is
you.
free. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That was the buzzer went off. That's what we've are using now.
And I wanted to tell you about our legal clinics, but okay.
Yeah, real quick, the legal clinic. Go for it.
So we actually offer 4 legal clinics. We have an urban justice legal clinic for NYCHA residents. We have the Mayor's Public Engagement Tenant Support Unit Clinic. We have Manhattan Legal Services Tenant Support Unit. And we have Manhattan Legal Services Clinic, which offers SNAP public assistance and HRA registration. So these clinics all take place at the Deputy Speaker's office. The NYCHA clinic is the first Tuesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The mayor's office is on site for tenant support unit clinic, which is a non-NYCHA clinic, the first Thursday of every month from 10:30 to 3 p.m. The Manhattan Legal Services Tenant Support Unit for non-NYCHA residents every third Wednesday of the month from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. And the Manhattan Legal Services Clinic actually happened today. That's for SNAP, public assistance, and HRA assistance every last Tuesday of the month from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you so much, Xavier. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Maggie. I know you have a lot of information. Please email it to us so we can post
Absolutely.
it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, if there are no questions, we're going to move along to Sharina from the DA's office.
I am here. Hello.
Wonderful.
Thank
You have your 3 minutes. Welcome.
Okay. So hi everyone. Good evening. We have our high school internship program. Applications are now open. Applications are due on March 8th, 2024. The internship runs from July 8th through August 9th. The eligibility for this program is applicants must be current high school sophomores, juniors, or seniors who live or attend school in Manhattan. The board has all these flyers, by the way. The next is our youth ambassador program. To apply to become a youth ambassador with our office, if you are interested, if you know any youth that's interested in learning about the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and its role in criminal justice system, and would like to have a platform to voice their ideas about how we could best serve the community, please have them contact us. We're looking for 2 ambassadors in East Harlem and 2 ambassadors from West and Central combined. And lastly is our 2024 Gun Violence Prevention Fellowship. Application requirements must be between the ages of 18 to 25, must have high school diploma or GED, must be enrolled in college or have 1 year of work volunteer experience, must currently reside, work, or attend college in one of the 5 boroughs. Personal experience with gun violence is preferred. And materials to apply: 1-page resume and an essay discussing your personal experience with gun violence and or your motivation to work in the field. And both the fellowship and the high school internship program are paid programs. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tiffany from the mayor's office.
Good evening, CB11, and how are you, Xavier? I know I owe you a phone call.
Always on the chase, but that's okay. We're all in the trenches together. Go ahead, you got your 3.
Yes. Okay, I bring greetings to you from our great Mayor Eric Adams in City Hall. I just have two things I'm going to report about really quick. The Adams administration releases sexual and reproductive health bill of rights, further ensuring rights to reproductive health and abortion care in NYC. Okay, as the right to access abortion care has been stripped away from 1/3 of United States women, New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced the city is further ensuring its commitment to reproductive rights, releasing Mayor Eric Adams, releasing the Sexual and Reproductive Rights Bill of Rights. This Bill of Rights defines health as inclusive of accessibility to sexual health care, birth control, gender affirming health care, and abortion services, and will help ensure that all patients in New York City are protected from discrimination and harassment related to their sexual and reproductive health care decisions. And the second thing I would like to report on is our great Mayor Eric Adams announces a lawsuit against social media companies fueling nationwide youth mental health crisis. Our great Mayor Eric Adams and the New York City Corporation Council, Sylvia O. Hines Radix, New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene Commissioner Dr. Vasson, and NYC Health and Hospitals President Dr. Michael Katz, and New York City Department of Education DOE Chancellor David C. Banks announced the filing of a lawsuit to hold 5 social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat and YouTube, accountable for fueling the nationwide youth mental health crisis. And if anyone would like more information on this, I could, I'll be sure to send it over to you guys. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Tiffany. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Great, and that concludes our elected officials report. We will now go to our borough president's report. We do not have Porfirio with us. We have one of his colleagues, Braha. Braha, you have, are you present?
Hi. Yes.
You
can
have,
hear me?
welcome to CB11.
Hi, CB11. It's nice to be here for my first time filling in for Porfirio here. I just want to touch on a few things. One, I hope many of you showed up to our celebration of Black History Month last week. It was a wonderful celebration of the evolution of hip hop with amazing performances. I also wanted to flag that community board applications are still open. We've extended the deadline to March 8th. So you have a little bit more time. If you're a member of the public and you want to be on the board, please apply. Or if you're on the board and you're up for reappointment, also please submit your application as soon as possible. And if you don't plan to reapply, please let Porfirio know as soon as you can. Then we have this Sunday, March 3rd at 2 p.m. Is the Manhattan Borough President's State of the Borough Address. It'll be at Hunter College's K Playhouse on East 68th Street. So please visit our website at manhattanbp.nyc.gov to sign up to attend. We'd really love to see as many of you there as possible. It's going to be a great event. We have free tax prep that we're hosting in our Northern Manhattan office, locating. I know this is a theme in many of the elected officials, it seems. But our office is located at 431 West 125th Street on Fridays from 9 to 5 through April 12th. The only requirement is that your household make $85,000 or less. Appointments are necessary, so please call 212-531-1609. Finally, to highlight the issue of sidewalk sheds, we presented our Sheddy Awards to some of the longest standing sidewalk sheds in Manhattan. It was no surprise that some of the worst offenders had sheds up for over 10 years. We've collaborated last year on legislation to fix this, to remove these sheds from our city, and we'll continue to keep everyone posted on progress as things move forward. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you continue to have a great evening. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Any questions? Michelle and then Sage.
Yeah, I was wondering, is that also including some of the scaffolding that has been around for decades?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sidewalk sheds, scaffolding, all of this. We've collaborated with several city council members on legislation last year to work on the regulation around how long those can be up. And it's because obviously we know that it tends to be up for much longer than necessary, and it's quite an eyesore.
Or updated. Thank you.
Thank you. Sage.
What was the methodology to track how long the scaffoldings have been up? And is there like a place we can see that? It just seems hard to keep track of.
Yeah, I'm actually not totally sure exactly what the methodology is because I didn't help put that part together. I just kind of helped spread the word on it. But you can definitely find it on our social media and on our website to look up if you want to see the details there.
Okay. Thank you. I am sure we have a couple of nominees we could present from CB11. If there are no other questions, thank you very much for attending. And with that, that'll include the Manhattan Borough President's report. Thank you for being with us, Rob.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have a special naloxone training with Anita R. Kennedy, who is the Peer Engagement Specialist at Addiction Institute, Mount Sinai, Beth Israel. And I believe she has joined us virtually. And so we will now take a few minutes to have a presentation on naloxone training, or better known as Narcan.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Anita Kennedy. Thank you, Xavier. And I work with Mount Sinai, Beth Israel, but I also do street outreach in East Harlem. And I really enjoy helping everyone around. So this is the opioid overdose rescue with Narcan or naloxone. They can be used interchangeably. So the learning objectives by the end of this training, you'll know how to recognize an overdose. You'll know how to administer Narcan nasal spray, and you'll be familiar with the relevant New York laws permitting individual use of naloxone or Narcan. Next slide. So when do people overdose? People tend to overdose if they have had periods of abstinence, or if they've been in a hospital, if they've been in treatment, incarcerated, if they have a relapse, or if they're using alone, because of course they're not going to be able to give themselves Narcan. But also, this would be for people who have no tolerance to opioids at all. This might be a person who unintentionally uses an opioid, like say there's a pill that they think is Tylenol, and the Tylenol has fentanyl in it. So of course they would have no tolerance to opioid, and that would render them to having no tolerance, and they would have a opioid overdose most likely. So like I said, fentanyl is in a lot of the drugs now. There's not really even heroin out there much anymore, and fentanyl is something that is 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. You know, the morphine is a very strong drug that is used in hospitals for people that are very ill. So it's a very, very, very strong drug. And it's doing a lot of damage to the people in our community. There's also, next slide, please. There's also another drug that's being added in, xylazine. Xylazine's not even an opioid at all. It's actually like a horse tranquilizer, and I put a picture of a horse up there because if you look, you know, the size of a human compared to a horse, you will understand how strong xylazine is. And we really are not even meant to have humans consuming xylazine at all. So something to note is that Narcan or naloxone, it doesn't work on xylazine at all because it's not an opioid. However, if xylazine is mixed in with fentanyl or heroin, the Narcan will at least reverse the opioid overdose and help the body to be able to overcome, you know, the overdose itself. So when in doubt, always give Narcan. And another thing to note is that Narcan or naloxone will not cause harm to anybody, even if it's not an opioid overdose. This is something that can be given to children too. If you remember back last year when the infants had actually come in contact with fentanyl, this is something that would have saved the little one's life. They could have actually given him the Narcan and it would have saved his life. And I'm sure that the others that were saved, they actually reversed their overdose with the Narcan. Next slide, please. So some signs of an opioid overdose would be slow or shallow breathing, somebody gasping for breath. It's very noisy. They might have a blue tone to their skin, or they might have pinpoint eyes. If you could even just pull up their eyelid and look, you could see that they have pinpoints. Or there's no response to pain. If you could do what's called a sternal grind, you would make a fist and rub really hard on the sternum, which is right on the chest, right on the breastbone, right there, really as hard as you can. You're not gonna cause lasting damage, but you're going to do enough pain to where someone is going to really wake up if they're able to. So the next slide actually shows you where the sternum is. And a way to check for responsiveness, you will yell and shout the person's name. A person's more likely to wake up if they hear their own name. When I've been out doing outreach in the park and everything, I was yelling for my partner one time, and his name rhymed with a person that I was trying to get to wake up. And every time I would yell for him to come over and bring the Narcan, the person would, you know, kind of try to wake up, but it didn't work. You know, we had still to call 911. We had to give the Narcan, and the person was ultimately taken to the hospital, but was, you know, alive, and they made it. So, and I still see the person, you know, to this day. So, you know, shout the person's name, give the sternal grind. And then if they don't wake up from that kind of pain, it is an emergency. You really have to call 911. It might not even be an overdose, but it is some kind of an emergency. So call 911, tell them you're with somebody that is not conscious, they're not responsive, and that you need EMS. So next you would administer the Narcan or naloxone. I've already told you about shouting the person's name and looking for that, but the most important thing here is to lay the person on their back to give the Narcan, okay? And then the next slide, you would then give the Narcan. You would take the Narcan and you would peel it open and then take it by the nozzle and the plunger, tilt the person's head back and gently insert the tip into their nostril and press. All you have to do is it's just like nasal spray, just press the nozzle, and all the medicine that is in this device needs to go into the person. So you don't try to do half and half, it's just all in one side for the moment. And then you'll wait up to 2 minutes. During that time, you can be trying to wake the person up again, but kind of stay back if you start to see them stir a little bit. And so you want to, you know, wait the 2 full minutes, okay? Like I said, this is another slide on how to do it. Peel the the tab, remove it, place the device in the nostril, push the plunger firmly. And here it says to get medical help right away, but I've already said to call 911, and that's when you should do that, is before starting to do anything, or you can have somebody else call as well. It's really important for a person to get medical help because this could last for some time. There are people that have gone into 2 and 3 overdoses, so it's really important for somebody to get medical help during their overdose. You could move, if you're not going to do any kind of rescue breathing or anything, and the person doesn't wake up after the second dose, you can move the person onto their side in the recovery position, watch the person closely. Hopefully by this time, EMS is there. And so you wouldn't really have to keep, going through all of this. Some post-overdose recovery, these are some things that a person might go through. They might have body aches, fever, sweating, runny nose, yawning, weakness, nervousness, irritability, diarrhea, vomiting. This sounds like it's the flu, and that's exactly what it feels like because you've caused the person to go into immediate withdrawal. And so they're not going to be feeling very well. An important thing to remember to tell somebody is not to use any more drugs because even with the Narcan on board, they're not going to feel anything else that they put into their body for 30 to 90 minutes. That's how long the Narcan lasts. And so they're not going to feel anything. Somebody might want to use more drugs to make this go away, but it's not going to go away for 30 to 90 minutes at least. So after recovery from the overdose, like I said, they might feel withdrawal-like symptoms, confusion, they might be agitated. You can try to keep the person calm and a bystander-free environment, but sometimes that's not possible. One of the most important things to remember is your safety is the utmost importance. So stand back, and just kind of monitor the situation. I have given quite a few doses of Narcan, and to date, I really haven't had anybody, be agitated and angry to the point where I felt unsafe. But I've had people, that have had the withdrawal-like symptoms and they vomited. And so I was glad that I was out of their way, listen to my own advice. Just wait for EMS to get there, or, you can also do the rescue breathing and CPR, and that's ultimately your choice. If you want to do that, that's ultimately your choice. I know if this is a loved one of yours, that accidentally has an overdose, you might really consider it. So it's just ultimately your choice. If you're not going to do the rescue breathing and CPR, EMS is not there. Really important to put a person into the recovery position on their side. But I can't imagine that it would take, that long for EMS to get there. So the next thing is, next slide, is the Good Samaritan law for New York, and it protects you. It protects you for being a good Samaritan and helping somebody out. It's not going to allow somebody to sue you for saving their life, that kind of thing. And then for like the younger people, they want them or anybody that has like drugs around or alcohol around, anything like that. It kind of protects them from having drugs and alcohol on the scene. Because they ultimately want you to call and save somebody's life. They want you to report this. It won't protect people like where children are involved or where there's like felony drugs or anything like that, or if a person is on parole or probation, it doesn't protect the person from that. So, yeah, it's just, you're saving somebody's life. So the next slide is when to get a new Narcan or naloxone kit. If you use even one dose, you need to get a new kit, or if your kit is ready to expire, and on the back of the Narcan, it'll tell you where the expiration date is. So, even expired Narcan, if that's all I had, I would still use it. And that's really about it. This is, the next slide is my contact information. If anybody needs any Narcan kits or would like the training for, you know, your business, whatever, I have many different resources for different community based organizations and everything that I've amassed over the years here. And so if you would like, you can reach out to me. And that's basically about it. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Anita. I appreciate it. I have one quick question. Would you be able to drop by some kits at the office?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Any questions from, yes?
You said that if you see somebody, you're not sure whether or not they have an overdose, to still give them Narcan, right?
Yeah.
And then you take some of the symptoms that they might receive after having Narcan. So if a person is not having an overdose and I give them Narcan, will they still show those same symptoms? Such as fever, vomiting, chills?
No, they will not. Because when you're giving Narcan to someone, if it's not an opioid overdose, it's just like water to a person that doesn't have opioid on board. The sole purpose of Narcan or naloxone is to remove the opioid off the opioid receptor in the brain. That's it. And so a person that is not having an opioid overdose, they're not going to feel anything at all like that. You know, and in fact, you're going to be helping EMS out when that happen. When you do that, you're going to be helping them by saying, I gave 2 doses of Narcan, and so they can further evaluate whether they think it's an overdose or not, you know. So to answer your question, no, the person would not feel any of those flu-like symptoms. That's only for a person that is going into opioid withdrawal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On the very off chance that an ambulance doesn't get there in time, because we've all seen how long it takes an ambulance to get through 2nd Avenue downtown. Let's say you gave 2 doses and the person's still not responding. If you have a 3rd dose, do you keep going?
Absolutely. You can give it after 2 minutes again.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Good. Not seeing any. Thank you. Oh, Jess has one.
Thank you. Does each Narcan have only 1 dose? So you'd have to open multiple packs in order to give multiple doses?
No, each, and I'm sorry for not saying that, each kit comes with 2 doses of Narcan. You have gloves in each kit. There's actually a face shield for CPR and rescue breathing. And there's also instructions in there as well that you can look at if you forget what to do.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. If there are no further questions, I appreciate you being here, Anita.
Thank you. And I'll drop those by. I'll drop the kits by.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes our public session. We'll now move along to our business session. This is for board members only for participating unless outside members of the public are called. First is our approval of the board minutes. The Meeting minutes were from the last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay. Seeing no hands, the minutes from last full board are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. Next up is the chair report. I wanted to go over just a handful of items. I want to say thank you for everyone who I've seen out at various events. I recently attended the tail end and get We Act for Environmental Justice. They had their monthly meeting. It was nice to see everyone there. I was actually able to bring my kiddos to it. We also had other discussions dealing with the Esplanade that are ongoing, especially as it extends from West and Central Harlem here on 125th Street. February 12th, I attended I Choose Mentorship with Robin Stration from our Human Services Committee, where I spoke to a lot of the high schoolers about community service and invited them to apply to the community board. As one of our former youth members, Asher Rodriguez, had joined as a 16-year-old. We're encouraging others to participate, and this is something that's very important to give youth a voice. I also attended Congressman Espaillat's MTA 2nd Avenue update, and that was very informative with the first stage of the 2nd Avenue subway, which is they're doing a design build, which is a lot of the electrical work. We had that presentation with Joe from the MTA going over the various stages, including how they're going to move the bike lane. They're also going to have to use some of the sidewalk. Members of the 2nd Avenue Subway Task Force were invited at that executive committee meeting, as well as there were some members of the public from this community who attended that meeting with Espaillat. Another thing to note is the Julia de Burgos Cultural Arts Center attended that with our deputy speaker to lay out the groundwork for an RFP. The last one the Hispanic Federation had was an RFEI. That has lapsed, that lease is over, and right now there is a discussion about extending a memorandum of understanding to DOE, so that way that the space can be managed and accessible to artists in the neighborhood. Those terms and conditions are being sorted at the moment and will be reporting soon. However, it's important that they keep the space activated while an RFP is developed. One of the things noted by Sabrina at EDC was that they want to make sure that the community knows whoever's applying can manage the space, what the carrying costs are, but they are, versus 10, 12 years ago, they're willing to do a net negative on this carry versus it has to be net neutral or net positive. So what that means is they're willing to take the loss on this for this cultural arts space, which is a huge leap for this community. So that's something to keep a note as we go forward. With that, I will keep my report succinct. One last bit is that I did have a meeting with Civitas with the Esplanade and the pier. We are going to be assessing what EDC's next steps are with that funding and consideration of whether or not there could be transport with a ferry service and how those monies are going to be appropriated. So those are ongoing conversations. Jess and I are working together, Environment, Open Space, and Parks. If you'd like to get involved, please do. Oh, yes, one more. I lied. Went to Metropolitan's legislative luncheon. It was really great to be there with everyone and to address the needs of the community. They're actually going to get an MRI unit. Their current MRI unit is in the parking lot. Who thinks that's right to go out to the parking lot to get an MRI? Yeah, serious. Yeah, it's out in the parking lot. Now they have funding to get it put inside. So it's huge, a huge improvement. So I just want to make that brief announcement. There are some legislative agenda items that are going up to Albany. This is your chance to voice when it comes to reimbursement rates with Medicare and Medicaid, because right now they only get 70 cents on the dollar. Think on that. That impacts our community. So with that, now I conclude my report. Any questions? Okay. Next, we will go to our, oh, yes, Michelle.
One short question. During the REACT monthly meeting that you attended.
It's the tail end of it, so I'll answer what I can.
Okay. I got a call saying that they were going to be going to Albany for a certain amount of, one is housing, so then very specific things that they're going to be going to Albany for. And do you have that list? Do you have the list? And I will do it.
Please do, and also to one of our other board members, Jewel Jones, was there. who was trying to debrief me on everything that was discussed. So I appreciate that. And that's how teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you. Great. With that, I will move on to the district manager's report. Check.
Hola again. Here we go. Good evening, peoples. So a couple of things to bring to your attention. Most of them are written, but I still like to share it here for those that don't read the written. So on January 11th, the Department of City Planning notified community boards that they'll be hosting a series of monthly virtual information sessions for their forthcoming City of Yes housing opportunity proposal. The next two will be March 27th, focusing on what they're calling the missing middle housing types, and then April 17th with an overview of the City of Yes for housing opportunity proposal. Each session will be recorded, and the recordings of each sessions will be available on DCP's website, along with other materials like the recently released draft scope of work and environmental assessment statement. You can sign up for the virtual meeting sessions under their Get Involved tab. On January 31st, the MTA notified 7 impacted businesses in the Phase 2 Contract 1 area. Those are businesses within 104th and 110th Streets along 2nd Avenue, advising the owners of these businesses to remove any sidewalk encroachment, such as stoop stands, outdoor dining, etc. This is in preparation for the MTA beginning to do utility work in preparation for the 2nd Avenue Subway Phase 2 project. Other things here. HPD recently released its updated The ABCs of Housing Guide. If you look at my written, there's a link to it. You can also go on their site. It's a guide to housing rules and regulations for owners and tenants alike. It's a really handy booklet if you're, seeking to know anything as an individual about how HPD throws down when it comes to housing, but also it's a handy tool if you're assisting people with housing issues. So if you're interested and you're looking to help people out, that's something that I encourage you to look at. And then the last thing I wanted to share, 2 more things. So this month we had scheduled an informational presentation, a pre-ULURP informational presentation on the Beacon project. That's the second of the public, the affordable housing projects on public land that were promised as part of the points of agreement for the 2017 East Harlem rezoning. So I know it's a while ago now, but it's a really good thing that that we're actually getting those promises fulfilled. That'll be 200 some odd units of housing there, as well as in addition to a brand new multi-service center. For those long-time East Harlemites, they've used the multi-service center for years and years and years, and now you're going to get a new facility, which is wonderful. And then lastly, for the 1.5 Dominicans in the room, I wanted to wish you a happy Dominican Independence Day.
You have a hand. Beverly?
Two is plenty, Martina. Tú y yo. So you and I are enough. No, I'm a full. I'm a full. Can't you tell?
Beverly, you had a question.
In regards to the City of Yes for the housing, they actually had a meeting virtual, I think, for yesterday. Will we be able to see this video?
So there are links in my written report, and also if you do a simple Google search for City of Yes for housing, it'll come up with this. But if you go to my written, it's in there as well, and I'm happy to email it to you. There's a fabricated hand in the back.
Okay. Joel?
Actually, I just referring to your report, Chair's report. I think it's important that we talk about the tags that we highlight highlight and acknowledge the CB11 reps. So I just want to make sure we acknowledge that Carlos Diaz Charlie is the CB11 rep for Metropolitan, and we have the Harlem Hospital and J. Card. I don't know their reps are, but I want to highlight that Carlos is also.
Yay. So thank you, Charlie. Charlie was also there, and Jewel also sits. Okay, Carlos was there, de vez en cuando, right? He was there, and Jewel, who sits on the cab as well in her other capacity, and these are very important assets that bring information back. And I, not only with our cabs, I welcome all the board members when they meet. Please show up. Reach out to both Carlos and Jewel, and they'll let you know when they are. They're also on their website, as well as the other hospitals, and also attending the 25th precinct last week. There has been an extension from Keoka Jackson that she'd like to see the Public Safety and Transportation Committee come through, even if it's half and half, on one of their monthly meetings. And tomorrow we have the 23rd precinct, which I believe Jose said he was going to attend. So it's very important we plug in, and there's a lot of great information. Usually the meetings are about anywhere from 45 to an hour, so shorter than ours. So with that, Sage, you had your hand up. Yes.
Yeah, about the Second Avenue subway, do we have an idea of how long it'll take to do the utility work between 104th Street and 110th Street?
So I do not remember off the top of my head, but we do have their slide deck that does have the time frame in it, and it's on our website. Go to the executive committee meeting that happened last week. The reservation is there. It should have it. If it doesn't have it and I'm wrong, just ping me and I'll follow up with you guys.
Yeah. He gave a very Joe Donald gave a very detailed report on it and a lot of information. And if there are additional questions, please ping them over to us, because he said he'll be glad to answer them. So he wants to be, they're leaning in a lot more than they did with phase one. So Ashley, okay, great. Yes.
When is the Second Avenue Task Force meeting?
We were going to have a meeting earlier, but we decided to combine, include the Second Avenue Subway Task Force executive, because they did not have an update ready earlier in the month. We are going to figure out that with the schedule for next month. Yeah, TBD. Thank you. With that, we'll now go into our officer reports. Jess? No officer reports. Okay, great. And Steph, do you have a treasurer's report? Not at this time? Okay, great. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you should come up and join us. And with that, I will pass it over to our secretary's report, who's going to go over attendance. Okay. Go ahead, Rosa.
Okay, everyone ready? So my report for this month, last week, I reached out to the members regarding the community board appointment expiring in 2024. Luckily, it was extended till March 8th. So please reapply, we need your voice. Yesterday, reminded the Human Services Committee members of their fully Zoom meeting due to the internet being down in the office. And today, I sent out a reminder to everyone here, if you don't have a text from me, see me after the meeting. Lastly, I made a list with the support of Angel. A little shaky here. For the committee members that have 3 and 4 absences for full board in their committees. I will be calling you out now. I can put it. Okay, here we go. 3 or 4. So, where is Miss April? Okay, April Autry. You have 3 missed committee meetings that you've missed. Please see your chair and Angel. Mark Borgowski, hi. You have 3 Human Services Committee missed. Please see your chair and Mr. Angel. Kareem Kauser, I believe I saw you here, no? No? Okay, I'm imagining things. Okay. Mr. Carlos Diaz, you have 4 public safety and transportation missed meetings. We miss you. Please come. Angela Donadel, she's excused. Brandon Gillespie, you have 3 Human Services Committee missed. John Green, you have 4 executive meetings missed. Annie Hansen, I believe I saw her. You have 4 Housing Committee missed and 3 Youth and Education Committee missed. Please see your chair and Angel. Wanda Hopkins, you have 3 Public and Safety Transportation Committee missed. Please see your chair and Angel. Beverly, she's not here, right? But let's just say it. Beverly, you have 5. I'm sorry? Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Oops. Pop out to me. Beverly McFarlane, you have 5 license and permits missed meetings. Please see Angel and your chair. Sage Mason, you have 3 Youth and Education Committee missed, and you have 4 Public Safety and Transportation Committee missed. Please see Angel or your chair. Yeah. Please see your chair and Angel. Malik McCauley, you have 3 Environmental Open Space and Parks Committee missed. Please see your chair and Angel. Alicia Miranda, you have 4 Economic Development and Culture Committee meetings. And 4 full board. Claudia Perez, with today it will be 3 now. Full board meetings missed and 3 Public Safety and Transportation missed meetings. Please see your chair and Angel. Dawn Saunders. Thank you for coming today. You have 3 budget district needs and budgets missed meetings. Please see your chair and Angel. Isaac Scott. It's like giving papa to my kids. 3 executive missed committees. Please see your chair and Angel. Vincent Torres. Vincent? Okay. You have 3 Economic Development and Culture missed. Please attend. See your chair and Angel. Jason Villanueva. You have 3 executive missed meeting. Please see your chair and Angel. Hilda Vives Vasquez. You have 3 Housing Committee missed meetings. Please see your chair and Angel. This is a tough one. Michelle. You have 5 Landmarks and Planning Committee missed meetings. Thank goodness. It's all information. We'll double check that information, get back to you. Definitely, you should be joining. Jason Wu. 3 Housing Committee meetings missed. Please see your chair and Angel. And that's it. Everyone else is safe.
Yeah, what, Angel, correction. Okay. So, wow, I feel like I was back in school. Absolutely. It's important for all of us. The work gets done in committee. We ratify it here at full board. And I know coming out of the pandemic, it was like pulling teeth last term, last quarter, and trying to get everyone to talk about this, especially at executive, with voting off a member who had literally only attended one committee and one full board. Our bylaws are at 4, it triggers. 3 was just to remind people where they are. Talk to your committee chairs. The work gets done there. I know we have extenuating circumstances. We travel, we see family, there are bereavements. Life does happen, which is why when we crafted our bylaws, it's important. We were being very considerate at the time when Bloomberg was trying to pass a change in the charter to allow for virtual meetings so more people who travel for business can be involved. Unfortunately, that didn't jive with the open meetings law in Albany, which we have now have legislation that is presented by Alex Borres, who's just in the Southern District, Southern Assembly District from us, to allow for online virtual meetings. So we're waiting to see how that evolves through the committee process. It's important because when we don't have quorum, and Human Services for 2 months in a row didn't have quorum, they couldn't get their job done. They had to have a last minute meeting. I believe it was last night. And that makes it very difficult for everyone else who shows up. That's important for us all to lean in and luckily they were able to get it done due to the extenuating circumstances of the office space. Again, 3, that means you're at risk. So it's notifying you. Your chairs and the staff liaison and the secretary have access to this. So ask. The next stage in the process is 4. It just triggers our process, which is very automated. Letters go out, you come, you respond, we figure out what's going on. We mark the calendar from term to term, right? September to June. Sometimes that includes July, because July we often will have last minute requests for permits for street fairs, block parties, et cetera, and some on the rare occasion ULURP. These are things you got to keep in mind. So please lean in. I know it's a lot of responsibility and the calendar moving because we have to accommodate the hybrid process. That's what makes it difficult because we only have one handle. That's something to keep in mind. So with that, if there are no questions, thank you very much. Oh, yes, Angel.
Just to clarify, Michelle's attendance is excellent.
So, thank you. So if there are no other questions, check in with Rosa and Angel and your committee chairs. They have access to your attendance. And as a reminder, the excused is just an excusal. So what that means is when the process is triggered at the 4, that means we're able to weigh in and saying, okay, one meeting was missed because of bereavement, or you had a sick child and you were caregiving. In some cases, we've had military service. That gets weighed into why you were not here. Those that could not be there, that were traveling, who called in, so you had to travel to Oklahoma or wherever, you called in to participate. You can't vote because you don't qualify the disability component, but you're there. And what that allows is us to see an excusal for your participation, and then that weighs in to say, hey, I wanted to participate. So that's why we added that into our bylaws. But in accordance with the charter, you're not present in the room. And that's just something we'd like to see changed at open meetings law and then subsequently the charter. So hope that explains to everyone. With that, we'll move the meeting along to our business session with our committee reports and action items. First up is Jess with Environment, Open Space and Parks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Our Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee meeting this past month, just a couple, obviously the minutes are for informational purposes, just want to go over a couple highlights. FloodNet New York City is reaching out to understand where cross streets where flooding is happening in our cross streets. So if you have seen flooding at any of our intersections, they have a survey which is available in the meeting minutes. You can note where those locations are so that they can implement sensors and monitor flooding risks in our neighborhood. We had our normal city agency partners in attendance. One update from Parks was that Peter Minuet Playground, which was one of our district budget request items, was approved for renovation through this Community Parks Initiative. And the Department of Parks is about to start community input sessions based on, if you all remember, the great presentation that the students made to our Environment, Open Space, and Parks Committee meeting. So happy to see that getting done. And that was just one of many parks that need attention in our district, which we will continue to advocate for. Just move along. We talked about our budget requests or a statement, and have 2 action items tonight. The first one, I guess they're in a different order on the agenda. So the first one was a motion of support for the proposal of the Green Eco Bus Shelter proposal, which was a presentation that WEACT made to our committee 2 months ago. This motion was made by Michelle Wiltshire Clement and seconded by Asher and passed unanimously. We can do these one at a time. Or together, what do you want to do?
Just go to read it.
Okay. The second motion was an item of old business that we've been discussing for many months now. There was no deadline necessarily, but there was a proposed name change of what was previously or is currently called Negro Point on Ward's Island. The original name change was proposed to Tacanis Point, which is a Native American word. We spent many months thinking about this and had the great benefit of a Dr. Rob Schneider, who is a historian and provided a lot of resources for us to consider alternate names for this point. We reviewed his suggestions and determined that we would like to name it after Captain Molzak, who was an immigrant to the United States from the West Indies and the first Black man to command a ship in the United States Merchant Marine. He was fully qualified to command a ship for more than 2 decades. His career was limited by racial discrimination until World War II, when he assumed command of the Booker T. Washington, a merchant vessel with, at his insistence, an integrated crew. His daughter was the proprietor of Liberation Bookstore in Harlem, and he died in 1971. So our motion was made to support the renaming to Molzak Point. The motion was made by Asher Rodriguez and was seconded by Rosa Diaz and passed unanimously. The last elements of our agenda, we talked about the Earth Day planning, which we've met yesterday, was it? Oh my God, okay. And we'll be continuing to meet in preparation for our April Earth Day conference, the 3rd annual. And we also discussed the Randall's Island HERC, which we'll talk about at executive. So those are our 2 action items. Are there any questions about our 2 action items? Go ahead.
I read somewhere that the name Negro Point was already unofficially changed to something else that's not Molzak Point. No, that's like not offensive, but I was wondering if that's new information or incorrect information.
I don't believe that's correct information because they reached out to us to be able to weigh in and gave us no due date. They want to really take their time in these processes. So as far as I understand, they're waiting until all parties weigh in. Oh, I don't know. There might be another point, but
we'll follow up.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Currently, the name is Negro Point on the U.S. names. The current request application is Point, and the U.S. Commission reached out to us to see if we have any suggestions. We're also aware that parks also had a recommendation for Silas Point, but that was not
It might be Silas.
There's also about 100 Negro Points because they just blanket statement and things to be called Negro Point, which is what we heard at the original presentation many months ago. I'm wrecked by it.
Any other questions? Okay, for item number 1, a motion by Michelle Wiltshire Clement to support We Act for Environmental Justice, East Harlem Environmental Justice Advisory Council Joint Green Eco Bus Shelter Proposal. The motion was seconded by Asher Rodriguez, passed unanimously. Is there a motion? To approve? Huh? Yes, Michelle, seconded by Asher. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. All right, next, motion by Asher Rodriguez to recommend the naming of Negro Point on Ward's Island to Molzac Point. The motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz, passed unanimously. Is there a motion? Malik, seconded by John.
Thank you.
To approve? Yes? Great. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Next up is housing. John.
Good evening, everybody. John Green, Chair of the Housing Committee. This month's meeting, I did not attend. I didn't feel well, so I want to thank Dawn Sanders for chairing the meeting. And I also want to thank Marlene Pierre for always keeping the meetings in order every month. The minutes are basically for information purposes only. HPD was there to talk about their Opening Doors initiative. We had a discussion about fixing the situation with 421A, and we talked about everybody's favorite subject, the budget. Other than that, it was basically, like I said, it's for information purposes only. We have no action items this month, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any questions for the Housing Committee? Great. Thank you, John. Next, we have licenses and permits. Adam is online.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. That sounds
Hi,
excited.
everyone. Sorry, I'm not feeling well. I couldn't be there. I'll be quick. I'll go through the permits for both the liquor licenses and the street activities all at once. So first for the liquor licenses, first up, we had Santa Fe Taqueria Corp. It was a class change and a method of operation change for a full liquor license for a restaurant at 2248 First Avenue. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 4 was MYNY Bakery Cafe LLC, renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license for a restaurant at 1565 Lexington Avenue on 100th Street. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 5 was Mi Patria NYC Latin Fusion LLC, renewal application for a full liquor license for a restaurant at 1643 Lexington Avenue on 104th Street. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 6 was the Museum of the City of New York, Inc., doing business as the Museum of the City of New York, renewal application for a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 1220 Fifth Avenue. Committee recommended that that application be approved. And now for the street activity permits. First up was Sunshine Carnival. I won't go through all the details. It's on the screen. So just the committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 8 or number 2 for the street activities, Cinco de Mayo Fiesta. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Next up was El Barrio Family Day Health Fair Festival. I believe this is the one that we might talk more about. The gentleman in the public session raised concerns about it. The committee recommended, however, that that application be approved. Number 10, Back to School Health Fair Festival. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 11, 2024 Harlem Skyscraper Cycling Classic. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 12, it's the same event. They just, I think, have 2 different areas. So number 12 was 2024 Harlem Skyscraper Cycling Classic. The committee recommended that that application be approved. And then the last one was the 116th Street Festival. The committee recommended that that application be approved.
Michelle? Malik?
Being that we're doing this now, I just wanted to revisit the individual with the flower store.
Yes.
And it was for the 116th, but it was during the May time.
I think it's item number 9. Do we have anyone from El Barrio Family Day Health Fair Festival at the meeting?
Yes,
Hi. Do you mind just coming up to the microphone and addressing the concerns of?
I mean, whatever you want.
I mean, just if you could use the microphone, that would be great. Oh, what? There you go. Hi, how are you? I like your outfit.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Martina Garcia. I'm the president, the founder of the Hispanic Community Organization for Life. How you all doing? Great.
There was just a constituent here that voiced
So there were a couple of people who had raised their hands and had questions. So I think Sage and Christina, yeah, so go ahead.
Is it possible that that festival can be moved to either the weekend before Mother's Day or the weekend after Mother's Day, so as not to impinge on services?
I've been doing this festival for years, and this is why I named the Invited Family Day Health Festival. So as far as me, I do not want to move it because I've been doing it for years. So I spoke to him and I say, if he would like, I'll pay somebody that will help to take the flower, whatever. But I've been doing it for years, so we're gonna have to see what we do. Unfortunately.
Giselle.
In other years, Martina, have you come to an agreement with him since you say you've been doing this for years?
Oh, unfortunately, I support the business. They never mentioned anything to me about this. Like, you got a pet. There's one business there that they put the toilet not in front, but like on the corner. And she came to me during the festival that I did last year. They never told me anything about this at all until we had a meeting with the community board that they was talking. So nobody told me anything about this.
Okay. Anne-Marie, you had your hand.
How many years have you been doing this event, and what's the issue?
That's all.
What's the issue with the flower shop?
Well, they say that because of the Mother's Day, May 12, the cars cannot come inside to buy flour from this shop. That's the issue.
Martina, would you be so kind as to either one side of it, just so I can see the hands raised?
Oh.
Yeah, because I can't. Thank you. Who else had their hand? Sage, and then Asher, Sage, and then Seth. Sage, Asher, Seth.
I was hoping the owner of the flower shop could come and talk as well. But maybe there's like a solution, and if anybody at the festival needs any flowers, you can go to his shop.
Can you please repeat yourself?
Is there any need for flowers at the festival?
Yeah. What do you mean there's any need for flowers?
Would someone want to buy flowers? Could you send them to the shop?
Of course. I will even pay someone to help them to bring the flower to the corner or whatever they need.
Okay. Asher, and then Seth. I'm going to field a few more questions.
This is more a suggestion, following a similar track to what Sage said, is maybe they can have like a booth or something where they're selling stuff at the corner. So that way, like, you know, on the oncoming, like traffic going up 3rd Avenue, going down 2nd, and see. That, I think that's.
I don't have no problem. I can give them a space wherever they want to.
I think that's like a fair enough.
Seth, Jose, and then Mark.
My question is more to the board. Is it just one person that's complained about this? Is it just one business owner that's complained about this? Has this come up before? Has there been complaints about this before?
We received this afternoon a petition, but that we need to review all the people who signed the petition this afternoon. So I want to answer a few more questions, and then I think I'm going to.
Xavier, sorry, could I speak to that question too?
Yes, go ahead, Adem.
Yeah, Asher, just to answer your question, as far as I know, there had never been a concern raised about this festival in the past. The gentleman who spoke in the beginning, he did come to this month's license and permits meeting. We allowed him to speak a few times, and I'm actually the one that suggested to him that, you know, this is where we would ratify that vote and that he could come to this meeting and state his case in front of the full board. And I even told him at the meeting that if he wanted to get a petition for other businesses, because we hadn't heard anybody else complain about that he could do so. So, I mean, the committee was on top of this and was trying to ensure that we got as many voices heard as possible. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jose and then Mark.
Do we know how many businesses were on the petition? And also, I mean, I didn't know what Martina did, but you know, just what happens is that he's in the middle of the block. That's my block. And it's not just who goes to buy it, but I mean, deliveries. I think Mother's Day, from my understanding of this conversation, is that it's like, it's one of his main financial days of the year. So it's a pivotal thing for a business that's been there probably as long as I have, talking about 40, 50 years. So it's rough, you know.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Last question.
Question for the committee, because I presume, as with all the committees, right, that the work that's going on in the committee is considering the various factors when we vote on things. So I don't want to question that here and say that it's not the right decision. But what I notice in the application, I looked, it lists 5 conflicting businesses with all restaurants. But I guess it's part of the research of any of these permit applications, what businesses are affected by the festival. And it's 5 restaurants, there's no mention of the flower shop. I'm just curious, what is the protocol by which it's determined the impact on the businesses that are, you know, infected by these fairs? And what, do we invite them to ask? Do we invite them to tell us what their experience is at the festivals? Or do we wait for them to come to the meetings and tell us? I just don't know what our process is.
So to the, Dem, if you'd like to speak to that as the chair of the committee.
Yeah, I mean, the process has always been that if they come to us and express concerns, we'll hear them out. I mean, Xavier, you recall last year we had, I think, a few meetings off the record that where we addressed issues that were concerning. I mean, it's not just the committee that would have to deal with this. It would be tasking an already, I think, burdened staff to have to reach out to everybody that's affected by a festival. And I mean, I'm happy to try to do more. We're all volunteers here. I listen to everyone who's heard. Everyone is welcome. And I'm just gonna be honest, if you're on 116th Street, you're pretty aware that there are festivals there. I mean, we can see what we can do, but I don't want to commit to anything that's going to give the staff more work without speaking to them about it first. But I do take that into consideration, and we'll flesh that out more. But up to now, and as far as I know, as it's always been, even before me, we respond when there's issues. We don't proactively seek out and ask people if they have an issue with something.
Because I wasn't advocating that the staff or anybody else necessarily go find the opposition.
Yeah.
I said there are listed 5 businesses. It says 5 conflicting restaurants found. How do we know these 5 conflicting restaurants? That's what I was asking.
I think conflicting just means that they're they're in the vicinity. I think the word conflicting is
Geographic location element. It's a food establishment on the street, basically.
No, I understand that. I think the word, and I could be wrong, and someone correct me if I am, but I think conflicting simply means that it's an establishment in the vicinity of the festival. That's what it is. I mean, you know, if we could theoretically send something out to all the people, again, that would be tasking the office with more work to notify everybody, every business owner, every time there's a festival, and then, you know, I don't know. So that would be something I'd have to talk to Angel and Marlene about off the record, if that's something that we have the capability of doing.
All right, I think given that it is February and that this is a May event, I think it'll be prudent if you are pleased to come sit with us and the business owners, and we sit and just have a conversation first, because you've had back and forth, and it would help the board be more informed. I think if we could schedule a meeting next week, if you have time, yeah, Monday, and if you can make time as business owners and we sit down and discuss this. I think that would allow then the license and permits, and this can go back so we can clarify on that discussion. And then the license and permits committee could readdress this and then weigh in again. They had pushed it forward as an approval, but I'm going to entertain a motion to lay on the table so we can actually discuss this, because cooler heads prevail and we have to discuss how this is there's a tenable pathway forward. Does everyone understand the preference? All right, so I will entertain a motion to lay on the table for this point in time if there are no questions. Yes. That's okay. Folks can't make motions.
Motion.
Yeah.
I do this festival because I do the Back to School Health Fair Festival. And whatever money I make with the vendors, I buy backpacks for the kid. So I, during my process of chemotherapy 2019, I gave 300 backpacks. I bought it by myself from the money that I make. So I would love for you to, and like I said, they never mentioned anything to me. They never said anything to me.
And I understand, and it's been raised here, and this is not, just so you're clear, this is not the first time we've had something like this come up. And I would like to resolve this in an amicable way. And as many people in this room know, I don't believe in no-win scenarios, and I think we can find a way through this all.
On the restaurant, they love when they do events because they come out. They come out and I don't charge them anything, and they sell more food than ever.
Yeah.
So I believe they will sell more flour than ever during the time, which is the El Barrio Family Day Health Festival.
So let's meet on Monday. Does that sound like a good plan?
Okay, sound like a plan.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Motion,
You have a
yeah,
great
no,
day.
absolutely. You've shown up. They've shown up. This is
What
how
time?
we build.
Let me know. Let's work this out.
Let me get through this motion.
I'm glad that I'm alive. Thank God.
Thank you.
2019, I had cancer. I'm on here. Thank you,
Okay.
God.
Thank you. We'll
And
do
you know
both.
what? I'm sorry for screaming. When I achieved, it took me 13 years to achieve that street. When I achieved the street that I was on 3rd Avenue, I didn't believe I achieved. It was like when they told me I had cancer. I didn't believe I had cancer. I started crying. I was eating Chinese food. I threw away the food. But thank you for y'all. Okay, have a great night.
We do this together, and thank you for your patience. No, good. And we're all going to do this together. So let me get through this motion. I'll entertain to lay on the table and send back to committee. Jose? All right, second. Michelle, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Jewel is opposed. Who else? Eugene is opposed. Carlos is opposed. Any abstentions? Present not voting. Malik is opposed. All right, the motion carries. We will, as soon as I get through this next set, I'll come and we'll set up a time to meet at the board office, okay? Good. I'm going to bundle the rest of these if there are no other issues with number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, as read into the record by Adem Briha. Malik?
I was about to say.
Okay, motion to approve?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second, Carlos? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next up, we're going to have our Public Safety and Transportation Committee meeting. All right?
Michelle, what's your Clemens wanted to say something? Oh, she changed her mind. Never mind. Never mind.
Wait, that's all you're gonna say? Oh,
Even if it's a meeting long time, I'm gonna say.
Go ahead. You come up and use the mic, please.
Steve, Michelle, thank you.
We did have further discussion with congestion pricing. This was important. And yes, we did go over the business district needs of our committee. And most importantly, we did continue to say that we are going to have the 2nd annual Public Awareness Safeties Conference, and we will need help.
We also got finally some good news from DOT regarding 117th Street by the mall, where we will be getting the structure that will, for all of you who've been here for a while, they extended the pedestrian walkway into the street, but they put nothing besides bollards to separate cars from pedestrians, which is, problematic. But luckily, we sent them a letter from the board last month. We spoke to our councilperson, Diana Ayala, and she was very helpful, and they right away started getting us the separation so that cars don't run into pedestrians.
We want to be safe in East Harlem, and we speak up.
Well, when is the conference? The 2nd annual?
The conference is going to be either at the end of September or the beginning of October. We do not have the exact date as yet because we're waiting to confirm on the space, and we won't be able to confirm until August.
Okay.
But we do have our keynote speaker.
Who is that? Is it a surprise?
Yes.
Okay.
So I thank you.
I believe, any more questions?
Any more questions?
Ah, there you go.
All right. I would recommend reaching out to Go So Save as well as Street Corner Resources and other providers here in the neighborhood. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to Human Services. Isaac?
Good evening, everybody. Oh, I shouldn't stand there. We did have one action item. Should we do that first or?
Up to you.
Okay, yeah, let's do the action item first, just really quickly. All right, y'all. So since y'all can hear me, I'm gonna just sit down. All right. So pretty much we had so this action item is in regards to the Committee of Interns and Resident Service Employees International Union. They are currently in contract negotiations with the New York City Health and Hospitals Metropolitan Hospital at 1901 First Avenue. And I guess the fullness of their the negotiations are because residents and fellow physicians at New York City Health and Hospitals Metropolitan are not appropriately compensated, as they say, in comparison to their other counterparts in other residency programs across New York City. So they have been going to different community boards and different places getting support as they are in their negotiations. So they came to us and we put together a letter for them. The letter should be in your agenda packet. Please take a look at it. But if there are no questions, we can entertain a motion now.
Are there any questions on the action item from Health and Human Services? Yeah, I can read it.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't mind.
Oh, not the letter, just the motion.
The motion. Oh, the motion is, excuse me. It's, okay. I'll read it off the screen for you. Is that cool? Okay. Robin Strachman made a motion to provide a letter of support for the Committee of Interns and Residents, Healthcare, and their contract negotiations with NYC Health and Hospitals Metropolitan. The motion was seconded by April and passed unanimously. So,
Any questions? Michelle? Make a motion, go ahead.
Do I have to read that whole thing over though?
Just say what you want to say.
I would like to make a motion for equal health.
Just approve the committee's recommendations. A motion to approve the committee's recommendations by Michelle, second by Carlos, or was that Benny? Benny. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
all right, thank you guys. So we also had an informational presentation from the Neighborhood Navigators Program, which is sponsored by the Manhattan District Attorney's Program. This program, I think, is actually really it's dope, and I hope that over time this program is expanded a lot. But pretty much, this program allows for there to be community navigators who spend 80% of their time in the community, engaging people and helping them to sometimes it's everything from taking them to appointments all the way to referring them to pantries and shelters and places where they can get clothes and stuff. So these navigators are sent, like I said, 80% of their time will be out in the community, engaged in the community, and 20% of their time will be in the office. They're also hiring and looking for more neighborhood navigators. So I'm happy to share that information with folks who may be interested. Yeah, but that's it. We also added some additions to our comments on the budget request letter thingy that we have to do. So we added our, I'm sorry, I don't have it all written in front of me, yeah. So we did add some, Ferretta, we did add, so consistency, something that I've been stressing to everybody. We want to be consistent across how we we pass resolutions, make budget requests, and all of our advocacy needs to be in line. So in this regard, we ensured that what we just wrote in our resolution and in opposing Mayor Adams' budget cuts for food programs for elderly and Asian people went into that blurb, because we want to ensure that our advocacy is making it to all of the different networks in which we communicate the needs of the Human Services Committee. So with that, that ends my report.
Thank you, Isaac. All right, next we have youth and.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to get up out of here.
I'm just curious about the community activists.
The neighborhood navigators? You were way off.
What agency?
It's the Bridge program. It's the Bridge. I'll tell you right now. I knew somebody was going to ask that. So it is the Bridge, which is a nonprofit organization based in Manhattan. It was founded in 1954.
And their phone number?
I don't have it on this, but I can send it all to you. It can be sent, absolutely. Any other? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yes. What's
You
up?
said they're community navigators. Are those the same community navigators that the DA's office has?
Yeah, that's it. They just came to present at our committee.
So it's still with the DA's office?
Yes, it's still with the DA's office, and I'm actually going to work with them to have them come do monthly updates starting in April. I think it would be good. I think, they're going to engage the community more than probably any of us. I don't spend 80% of my time engaging community members, and I'm out there. So I would appreciate their updates, So I want to make sure that we have them on the calendar regularly to give those updates. Yeah.
Great.
Any other questions? All right, I'm out of here.
Thank you. Oh yeah, can y'all, just a quick note before we move on to youth and education with our lovely Asher. Can we please limit the side conversations? It's getting hard to hear the presentations that are being made, and I would appreciate it if everyone could give their full attention to the people who are speaking on behalf of the community board. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna try to be quick because we had a lot. So first of all, we did the committee review of the budget documents, and we submitted our comments, which were voted on during the executive, and we're gonna vote on tonight. And then we had about 4 presentations. The first presentation we had was from Reading Partners, which is a volunteer-based program within East Harlem that goes into, I think they said 9 of the schools, and they're wanting to expand. And it's for K-4, and it's basically helping, because as we've seen from the pandemic, a lot of kids aren't reading at grade level the way that they were before. So this is basically extra help for the schools for them to help kids read at grade level. The next thing we had was Class Size Matters came and presented about, they were requesting a letter of support, which I'm pretty sure we're voting on tonight. Basically, the city has a timeline, I think of within 5 years, Rosa could correct me if I'm wrong, to start cutting class sizes based on the new bill that was proposed. It was per teacher, I think the ratio was like 20 kids per classroom. And basically the city has met the goals of slowly decreasing class sizes over the year, but next year they're not on track to meet their what they're supposed to be at. And especially within East Harlem, our class sizes are still very, very large. So they're requesting a letter of support, basically urging the DOE to take notice and start acting now before it's time for the class sizes, smaller class sizes, to be implemented to make it an easier process. And then we had a presentation from Functional Family Therapy, which is a therapeutic program within East Harlem that they target kids within families who are either involved with the court system or just at-risk youth within the community, and they give full family therapy. They're looking for new clients. And we had a very short presentation, but they're going to come back, from the dual language charter school, the South Bronx Charter School for International Cultures and the Arts. They want to move to East Harlem and expand their client base and their students. So also, before David bites my head off, we talking about budget requests, we submitted, I think either last year or the year before, for Lexington Academy to have doors installed, safety doors that like close when the fire alarm goes off. Also, like the doors weren't that safe to begin with, like kids were getting their fingers caught within the doors. So they started installing the doors. So that's why it's important when we're doing the budget request to keep, like Isaac said, keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because stuff will eventually get done. So can we go to the what we have to vote on? Okay. So a motion was made by Rosa Diaz to adopt the resolution urging the New York State Department of Education to implement the class size working group proposals and comply with the new class size law. The motion was seconded by Isaac Scott and passed unanimously.
Any questions? Yes, Joel.
Not to be anal about this, but if you make reference to a resolution, is there a particular resolution, and then you're talking about implement the class size working group proposals and come out with the new class size law, so you're making reference to things that, is there a specific resolution, a number?
It was, yeah, it was in the full board meeting materials. If anything, I'm pretty sure the CEC voted on it. That's what we were voting on to, I'm trying to find the language to say what I'm saying. We were voting to basically in support of the CEC's original. Can Rosa speak to it? Because Rosa was the one who brought it up at one point.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Hello? Oh, yes. So basically, the chancellor called on a lot of members from different specialties, like principals, superintendents, parent leaders like myself, and a lot of people. I believe we were like 48 people that came together, met months and months and months, came up with proposals. We were called a class size working group. And, you know, like our priority was special education students. Our priority was kids that need more support than others, vulnerable students, not just like in East Harlem, but like all the boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx, like all the boroughs. We had to look at enrollment, capital planning. We had to look, I was the chair of, in full disclosure, I was the co-chair of the special education committee where we met, and, you know, like our focus was our special education students that needed to have, would this be beneficial instead of having 35 kids in the classroom to have like 20 kids in the classroom? You know, like where are the IEP meetings? IEP are independent, individualized, thank you so much, individualized special education program that will take your child out of the classroom and support them in the way that they need. So us 43 or 48, don't quote me on that, we met, we passed a proposal, which are like, I don't know how many pages, and we're looking for like every community board, every CEC, every parent leadership platform to actually support our voice, because our kids need less students in the classroom, especially our most vulnerable ones, and special education students.
Basically,
go.
Just to clarify, I was just saying, is there a particular resolution number? That's all.
It's in the, and it's actually, it was in our.
Is that, should it be actually referenced in the motion? That's all I'm saying. You could say it's here and there. I'm just saying, if we're saying adopt the resolution, again, I said I didn't want to be anal about this.
I'm pretty sure it was already mentioned in the original resolution during committee.
So,
No, Joel, I understand the clarification and desiring that. I think in this general reference, it's not necessary, but we could look it up to add into it. Hold on, Carlos. there's not a particular resolution, but we could put in
Can I
the, there is.
Can I just clarify also, this is.
Hold on, go on, Rosa.
This is public information. Anyone can just Google class size working group and it will, like the whole pages of, it will come up. It's in the full board documents also in the website. I mean, who doesn't want our children to be taught by a teacher, you know, like instead of having 35 kids in the classroom, having like 20 kids.
Yeah, so Rosa, she's just asking if it's referencing the CEC had a specific resolution number, correct?
No, we don't.
It did not have a specific resolution number.
No.
Any other questions? Anne-Marie, you had a question?
This new class size law, is it for all the children or is the special ed children?
Is for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, Beverly.
You may have mentioned that, the year that's coming up, they may not be able to see, it's gonna have more kids in the classroom, you know.
That's not what, I'm sorry. Let me clarify what I was saying. They have a graph showing, like, they have goals that they want to meet within like the next, these aren't exact numbers, but let's say by 2025, they want it to be 25 kids when the goal eventually is to be 20. Like it basically, they're not, as of right now, the DOE isn't going to meet their goal of being a certain number because they're phasing in the law. So.
And it will also impact funding. If we do not comply with the law, we will lose funding in our city schools.
Yeah. So
also there is a reference to the resolution, because what we did is adopt the CEC for resolution for class size matters. So I think Jewel is right to acknowledge what we are adopting in which resolution and should be stated in the motion.
No.
The resolution came and was presented from another entity, and we adopted it and supported it. So it has to be acknowledged in it.
From what I remember was we just referenced the CEC motion. We didn't necessarily.
So we're. So
we have to adopt, and which resolution are we adopting?
So
you're right.
It's.
Yeah, no.
So it's, go ahead, Khalid, because you.
Your colleague provided us resolution language, which specifically states. We were originally provided a draft resolution from Rosa's colleague that we are using for this resolution for this motion. We haven't.
Class size working group.
Correct. Right. So we haven't created any resolution of our own. It's not our original language. It's something that we're adopting as has been stated in the motion and was actually said during the committee meeting.
Okay, so and that is the class size working group, correct? So that is the reference point for the resolution. Steph?
So I want to understand, we're saying that this law is going to go into effect and unfortunately the schools won't be able to meet that target that is going to be asked of them, and because of that they may lose funding?
Is this basically us urging them to take action before we do end up losing the funding? If that makes sense.
We're urging the schools to take
Yeah, we're urging the schools to like take action before we end up losing the funding because we're not going to meet the goal.
So some of the challenges are, we don't have enough teachers when you start splitting up kids. We don't have enough classrooms when you have to take a classroom that has 30 kids in it and I make almost 2 classrooms. So there's a lot of complications in us meeting those requirements. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be moving towards, but understand, it's not just split up everybody and dish them out and deal the cards differently. You don't have staff to cover these classes, right? Every 3 classes you reduce from 25 to 18, just saying, because that's what they really want. You need another 3 teachers.
Yep, thank you, which is why the committee passed support. Okay, so with no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I know Carlos had one, his hand. Are you still wanting to entertain that, or should I? No, all right, I'll move on. Michelle, and then Michelle?
I would like to make a motion in favor.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? All right, Eugene, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Land use, landmarks, and planning. We did not have a meeting. Economic development and culture.
Good evening, everyone. On February 11th, Governor Hochul announced a new consumer protection law that will amend and clarify New York's existing credit card surcharge law. So if you're a business in East Harlem or you know of a business in East Harlem, let them know that there is a new surcharge law on credit cards that has to be displayed before the customer pays their bill, just to avoid any back and forth between customers and businesses. We had a presentation from James Gonzalez from La Fonda for our small business spotlight. I'm sure many of you have patronized his business. He's on 106th Street. He's still there. They have a lot of events that they're doing. They're doing like a new salsa project there now. So let's go out and support. The rules for dining out NYC are finalized. If anybody's interested in knowing, seeing the plans and seeing what businesses are going to be required to what's going to be required of them, you can visit diningoutnyc.info. The committee reviewed our comments in response to the mayor's statement. We were able to put special emphasis on our NYPL needs, being that the funding has been found or quoted from other meetings. We put emphasis on our capital budget needs, and that pretty much was it was a good conversation. Our committee had a brief discussion on our goals as well. April went ahead and created a document of goals, and committee members were advised to submit their goals, also as well, like as what professional experience they have and what they bring to the committee, so that we know how everyone can participate, what their interests are. And finally, we had a brief discussion on the committee activation for the MTA 2nd Avenue subway in preparation for phase 2. We have no action items. Any questions? Eugene?
You need help there. Point of information. The EDC told us at the meeting that they were going to make certain changes to the theater. They wanted to put a retractable stage and do the wings and all that kind of stuff, which means that theater will be closed for like 2 or 3 years. And if we know them, it'll take maybe 5. Meanwhile, in our budget statement, we approved the improvements that they suggested for the theaters in the community, without knowing that means that the Julio will be closed for 2 or 3 years. I just wanted to make everybody aware that that's what's going to happen.
That was information that you got from the RFP breakfast from Diana Ayala?
After we had the discussion, I got home and I read the budget thing again. I said, wait a minute. They're talking about what the EDC was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I put them together and I said, oh, that means that the theater's going to be closed.
We'll look into that. Thank you for that information.
Thank you, Eugene. Any other questions? The second what?
The second item that you mentioned.
The dining out NYC? La Fonda?
Yes.
He's on 106.
No, what is he doing?
Well, he came to present. We have a small business spotlight where we pretty much have business owners from the community come and let us know that they're here, what hours of operation they have, any programming that the community could benefit from. And this month he came and presented. He has salsa. I say project, but it's really just like a salsa event. And that's good for mental health, people to come out, socialize. So these events are good. I don't believe he had a flyer, but the YouTube recording, you can reference the YouTube recording. You can go check him out as well. Or I have his information, I have his email. So,
Okay.
No problem. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Instagram page, I think it's La Fonda NYC, one word.
Any further questions? Wonderful. Thank you so much, Giselle. Yeah, let me just put it down there. Next, we have statement of district needs and budget. Steph?
Good evening, Stephanie Arroyo, District Needs and Budget. As you all know, we were working out the statement of district need, budget and district needs. I have to say that unfortunately, because some committees are not meeting regularly or do not have enough time to meet, they are not talking about the district needs. And that makes our work at committee a lot more difficult because we don't have all the information. The idea of this is to take information from each committee, bring it together, and that's how we answer our the mayor's preliminary budget. That's the idea, that's the practice, that's what we're doing. The mayor says, I'm gonna use our tax dollars for this. We say, well, make sure you use your tax dollars in East Harlem or in Community Board 11 for this. And unfortunately, when committees don't meet and committees don't put that information together, that leaves us at a loss. So we had a few missing items in our budget and statement needs that was dealt with after the fact, and it was applied to in the executive board, and that's where we were able to vote on that. I don't know if you guys want me to mention anything about the statement of needs. It's up on our website. That's it, unless you guys have any questions. No?
Any questions? Thank you. Next, we have our executive committee meeting, and to kind of bridge off of that, we had several issues we addressed. We already talked about the Second Avenue subway phase 2 progress updates. You'll be able to find the presentation on our website. We had a presentation from Dr. Adam Aponte from Borica Neighborhood Health. He presented on 2 issues that are going to be presented at the state legislature, and they're going to be going up for advocacy weekend. And this is where they lobby pre-committee voting. This is where the sausage is made. They go up, and us supporting of certain initiatives helps empower their advocacy for legislation. Two of the items we talked about were the HRQCs, which deal with the reimbursement rates, and again, referencing similar to last year with the Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement rates, which are 70 cents on the dollar, which impacts the total collective care they can provide to the community. Many of us went there for general wellness. Those who went there for COVID shots, I know I got my booster over there, as well as other locations. It's very important for us to be supportive of these measures. So they presented on the 2 pieces of legislation, A7560 and S6959. The next issue was dealing with telehealth, which became very popular during the pandemic. However, now it's been an easier access for patients to talk to their doctors if it's not something they need to see their clinician to discuss a particular health issue. Sometimes a doctor has to be seeing you physically to examine you. Other times it's not so much necessary. However, the reimbursement rates are being assessed at a different level. However, the time of the visit remains the same. This legislation that was presented was A7316 and S6733 to support the reimbursement rates being the same. So with that, and I'm just going to come back. So that was one issue. We also voted on the preliminary budget. That motion was made by Stephanie Arroyo, seconded by John Green. There was one minor addition that was referenced, which was dealing with the HDFC and the TIL program. That was brought up by Beverly. We included a little bit of language in that, so that should be there. And those were our 2 action items. Again, I'm just going to bring this up in general, beyond just attendance. Decorum is very important. We've talked about attendance, but decorum. We like to have a little bit of fun. We're tired, maybe haven't eaten, so we get a little silly. But it's important that, okay, you can have a laugh after the fact, but let's keep the meeting moving along. It makes it more efficient. So we shave off a bit of time, and then we can go, have a bite to eat or a drink or whatever. So it's just very important. It puts a more professional veneer. Some of us have friendships out of the side of these walls and our work, and it just helps us present a better foot forward, if it were. So with that, I'm going to entertain, if there are no questions, I'll entertain for item 16, our response to the mayor's fiscal year 2025 prelim budget. Is there a motion to approve? Steph, second by, let me give that to John. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next is a motion that was made by Asher Rodriguez to issue a letter of support for the proposed state legislation to amend the public health law. I've read into the record those bills, and that would be expanding healthcare service provided by telehealth, and to amend Part 5 of Chapter 57 of the laws of 2022, amending the public health law and insurance law relating to reimbursement for commercial Medicare services provided via telehealth. The motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz, passed with one present not voting, Nelson Rama. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Asher has hand raised. Asher?
Motion approved.
I'll give a second to Carlos. Yeah. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Wonder what that concludes our executive. Any new business? Any old business? Any announcements? Okay. With that, we'll do a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Let's get ready. Jose Altamirano. Good. Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Thank you. Mark Borgorski. Thank you. Adam Brihab.
Here.
Good, thank you. Kareem Kauser. Kareem Kauser. Okay. No. Devon Cronshaw. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Carlos Diaz. Rosa Diaz, myself. Angela Donadel is excused. Jessica Elliott. Thank you. Judith Fabrado.
Present.
Judith? Thank
Present.
you. Thank you. Brandon Gillespie. David Giordano. John Green. Annie Hansen. Wanda Hopkins is excused. Christina Johnson is excused. Oh, wait. Why? Sorry. Jewel Jones. Beverly McFarlane. Giselle Malave. Thank you. Sage Mason. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Mayer. Thank you. Alicia Miranda is not here. Jessica Morris is sick. Jessica Morris? Okay. Neil Saurama?
Here.
Thank you. Beverly Pavon? Thank you. Claudia Perez? Nicolas Reyes? Asher Rodriguez? Eugene Rodriguez? Don Sanders? Xavier Santiago?
Present.
Isaac Scott? Russell Schuller? Loretta So? Vincent Torres? Anne-Marie Vasquez? Jason Villanueva? Jason Villanueva, okay. Okay. Candy Vives Vasquez? Candy?
She's on Zoom.
Michelle Wilshire Clement? Jason Wu? Thank you. That's it. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.